Susie was shocked when she walked into an art gallery and saw a private sculpture of herself on display, made by her boyfriend without her permission. Her name was written below and people stared. She felt exposed and frozen, while he proudly showed it off, ignoring her feelings. Without saying a word, Susie left. Later, her boyfriend told her he only includes those he loves in his art. Susie was hurt and replied, "You should have told me." Her friend tried to comfort her, saying a real muse means real love. One friend said he probably cared deeply, which gave Susie some hope. But that night, another warned her he might not be honest. Worried, Susie visited his studio and saw him kissing a student. Suddenly, everything he'd said felt like a cruel lie. Realizing she'd been used, Susie decided to end it for good. She went to a bar that night to clear her head. A charming man walked in, and though every girl noticed him, he came straight to Susie. She pushed him away at first, but his calm voice and kind words slowly drew her in. They played darts together, and his gentle touches made her feel safe. When she smiled after hitting the target, he complimented her, saying she looked beautiful. Though cheesy, it touched her heart, and she felt herself opening up again. He drew a small butterfly on her wrist, saying if it was still their next time, their bond was real. When she asked why a butterfly, he replied, "They stay with one flower forever," hinting at a sweet and lasting love. Then he showed her a butterfly tattoo on his neck, making her even more curious. His calm, caring eyes softened her walls. When he gently touched her head, her doubts faded. That night, they stood under the moonlight, quietly sharing a moment of peace. Xian offered Susie a cigarette, but she didn't know how to smoke. When another woman walked by asking for one, Susie quickly took it to keep Xian's attention. Xian noticed and gave her a gentle smile before asking if she wanted to come over for tutoring. Feeling unsure, Susie stepped away. When she returned, she overheard Xian talking to someone on the phone in a way that felt too familiar. Hurt, she quietly left. The next day, she cut her hair and promised to focus on herself. But later, she saw Xian for a brief moment while shopping. She tried to follow him, but he was gone. That's when Susie realized she cared more than she thought. To move on, she went to a group mixer only to find Xian there too. They finally exchanged names and ended up sitting across from each other, both pretending nothing had happened. When Susie's friend took the last piece of bread from her plate, Xian ordered another one for her. As others talked, Xian quietly watched Susie, making her feel something real. But when he joked around with a waitress's phone, she wondered if he acted sweet with everyone. Sensing her doubt, Xian invited her out for ice cream. On the walk back, he asked why she had left that night. As they talked, he touched her shoulder and noticed the faded butterfly drawing. His soft smile made Susie start to believe he might be someone special. That night, she kept checking her phone, hoping for a message but unsure what to say. The next day in class, she suddenly said, "Let's walk around. I want to see Xian." But even after wandering the halls, he didn't show up and she forgot to turn in her homework. Feeling down, Susie later offered to help a classmate find her lost earphones. But instead of going to Lost and Found, she went straight to the sculpture room hoping to see Xian. Instead, she found his beautiful butterfly sculpture, the one that had won him awards. That day finally brought a magical moment. After class, Xian showed up, knowing she had been looking for him. Susie denied it, but then playfully dabbed green paint on his cheek. They laughed, and even others noticed how cute they looked. That night, Xian quietly sketched her face. As they walked home under falling cherry blossoms, Xian hugged Susie from behind, saying stretching helps after sculpting. Later, at the bar, things turned flirty. He pulled her close and nibbled her ear. Just as they were about to kiss, someone accidentally interrupted them. Feeling awkward, Susie stepped away. When she returned, she saw Cha inviting Xian to play a game. He turned her down and went to Susie, but then Cha pulled Susie in too. That's when Susie saw a butterfly on Cha's wrist, the same one Xian had drawn for her. Seeing the matching butterfly, Susie felt crushed. She walked away in silence, but Xian chased after her, saying Cha drew it herself. Susie didn't believe him. Her heart hurt too much, and with a cold look, she told him to stay away. That night, Susie wondered if Xian treated all girls the same. She ignored his calls, but his kind voice made her smile. That night, Susie wondered if Xian treated all girls the same. She ignored his calls, but his kind voice made her smile. The next morning, she dreamt he was at her door, but it was just a dream. Rushing to school, she realized her period had started. Susie asked a classmate for a pad but got no reply. Despite the pain, she still gave her class presentation. Afterward, Xian found her and gently placed his jacket on her. She felt both touched and unsure. Later, she saw most of Xian's followers online were girls, making her feel uneasy again. Seeing Xian's online popularity raised Susie's doubts. Her friends suggested they go to a party to observe him. While waiting there, a creepy senior started flirting with Susie. Thankfully, Xian finally arrived and all the girls rushed toward him while Susie felt even more out of place. Xian took Susie outside to talk, but the same annoying senior followed. When asked about their relationship, Xian said they weren't dating. His words stung. Susie left to calm down and her friend comforted her. Later, Susie and friends, including Xian, played a spin-the-bottle game together. In the game, everyone had fun and laughed loudly. When Xian arrived, even the neighbor didn't complain. Later, Susie saw him playfully sharing dumplings with another girl. When he explained it was just a wish, he teased Susie about missing the mouth-to-mouth game. Then Susie kissed him. After the kiss, Susie waited for Xian's message but held back from texting first. Meanwhile, Xian was at the airport picking up his ex, Xiaoya. Soon after, Susie saw them walking hand in hand, looking very close. Her heart sank at the sight. To clear her mind, Susie went to a convenience store and ran into Xian, a sweet junior who liked her. They talked and laughed, and he gave her milk and asked for her number. What Susie didn't see was Xian watching from a distance, and even Xiaoya sensed his jealousy. That night, Xian texted Susie sweetly, and it felt nice. But seeing no message from Xian made her smile fade. The next day, Xian brought her fruit and invited her to a movie. Just then, Xian suddenly appeared and casually placed his hand on Susie's shoulder. When Xian made a flirty joke about their movie, Susie got upset and dragged him to the rooftop. They argued and parted on bad terms. Xian overheard but kindly told Susie he still wanted to go out. She agreed, and they had a fun date, making her wonder if this was what real love felt like. Right before Xian kissed her, Susie thought of how smooth Xian was and smiled. Xian noticed, felt awkward, and left. That night, Susie deleted Xian's contact. But at the school festival, she saw Xian with another girl, looking like a couple. Xian watched too, and jealousy started to show in his eyes. Later that night, Xian called Susie but only heard her coughing before the call dropped. Worried, he even called the police. When Susie got home with medicine, she was shocked to see them waiting. Xian looked so relieved when he saw her safe, and gently checked her forehead. That night, Xian came back with medicine and told her to eat first. Touched by his kindness, Susie invited him in for ramen. After eating, she grew sleepy, so Xian gently tucked her into bed and sat beside her, quietly telling her a bedtime story until she fell asleep. In the morning, Susie saw Xian still sitting next to her. She softly touched his face. When he stepped away to wash up, she watched him, thinking how handsome he looked. Xian heard her compliment and smiled shyly. Xian returned, tied Susie's hair gently, and in that quiet moment, she kissed him. That kiss made her realize their connection was real. They decided to meet every Saturday, and Susie started looking forward to their time together with excitement. When Xian came over, he noticed beer bottles on the table. Susie explained it was just for a fun vibe. He didn't say much but hung a handmade butterfly wind chime by her bed. That small gesture made Susie fall even deeper for him. Xian slowly became part of Susie's everyday life. At school, they acted normal, hiding their closeness. But when no one was watching, they exchanged secret glances, quiet proof of the bond growing between them. Susie and Xian shared sweet, cozy nights like a real couple, eating, laughing, and cuddling. But things changed when Xian's ex, Xiaoya, grew uncomfortable. Tension grew, and the worst came when Xian forgot Susie's birthday. Hurt, she left alone in the rain until she ran into her childhood friend, Doohee. Susie learned Doohee was now a chef with his own cafe. They exchanged numbers, and when his bag of potatoes spilled, Susie helped. As the rain poured harder, Doohee held an umbrella over her, getting soaked himself. Back home, Susie kept thinking about his quiet kindness. Susie wished she'd met Doohee earlier. On her birthday, Xian suddenly appeared, making her smile again. They spent the day together, and he surprised her with a gift. When she invited him for dinner, he hesitated but still came and offered to cook. But just as things felt right, Xian got a call from Shirao. Xian answered the call like nothing was wrong, but Suzy could feel the distance. The soup was left unfinished. Hungry and confused, she walked to Duhi's cafe. His face lit up when he saw her. They laughed over memories and he served noodles and cake, but Suzy's heart was still stuck on Xian. Even while enjoying Duhi's warm smile and birthday surprise, Suzy thought, I wish it had been someone else. He didn't know it, but he was slowly becoming a stand-in for someone Suzy couldn't fully let go of. The next day, Suzy wore the outfit Xian gave her and went to meet him behind the school. She waited with hope, but Xian arrived late and carefree. Something felt off. When a classmate spotted them together, whispers started spreading fast across campus. When Suzy got home, her ex was waiting and angrily warned her about Xian, calling him a player. Suzy pushed him away, tired of being judged. Sitting alone later, she wondered how her love life had gotten so complicated and decided it was best to avoid Xian. But the next time she saw Xian, she froze. Before she could speak, a man suddenly punched him. At the police station, Suzy learned the man was Xian's ex's brother. Furious that Xian had hurt his sister, he warned Suzy to stay away. Heartbroken, Suzy asked Xian why he met another girl. His cold response, "You still like me, right?" made her furious. When she asked what their relationship meant, he shrugged and said she'd never cared before. That was it for Suzy. She walked away in tears and clutched the dress Xian had given her, unable to throw it out. She cried alone, realizing it was time to let him go for real. Life slowly got better for Suzy, though Xian stayed in her thoughts. One day, she found a necklace and earrings at her gate. Xian had quietly replaced her broken necklace. She tried to call him, but his number didn't work anymore. Later, they met on a stairway. Suzy tried giving the gifts back, but Xian told her to throw them away if she didn't want them. Then his phone rang. Shirao showed on the screen, and he answered it without hesitation. Suzy walked away, not knowing Xian was only helping Shirao at the hospital. When she asked why he seemed so down, Xian quietly said, "I don't like who I've become. I want to change." At Suzy's big art presentation, Xian surprised her by volunteering to help. He gently took her hand, like he wanted to say something. But feeling unsure, Suzy looked at her junior and slowly pulled her hand back. Suzy and Xian start working together again in his studio, staying professional and silent about their past. But as they fall into an easy rhythm, old feelings begin to stir. Watching from afar, Shirao starts to feel jealous. While Suzy steps out, Shirao calls Xian and drops a lighter that Suzy instantly recognizes. When Suzy questions her, Shirao proudly says she's Xian's ex and still part of his life. Suzy, hurt but strong, walks away without a word, disappearing completely. No one knows where Suzy went, even Xian. In reality, she's gone back to her hometown for some quiet time. Her aunt tells her Duhi is back too, planning to open a noodle shop. When friends visit and suggest seeing him, Suzy agrees but warns them not to tell Xian. Meanwhile, Xian feels completely lost without Suzy. Unsure of what to do, he finally asks Shirao for help. She admits Suzy is back in her hometown. The moment Xian finds out, he rushes to see her. But Duhi hears the same news and races there too. At the beach, Duhi brings Suzy a homemade meal and softly asks if she has a boyfriend. When she says no, he happily confesses he's liked her since they were kids. Duhi once planned to confess his feelings to Suzy before she left for Seoul, but backed off after hearing she was already dating. Now, as they reconnect, he softly tells her how happy he is to see her again, though she's already asleep on his shoulder. That night, he lets her rest and waits outside the car, quietly showing how much he still cares. Back in her studio, Suzy starts sculpting again, and the piece begins to resemble Xian. When Duhi visits unexpectedly, she hides it in a panic. Later, they enjoy a peaceful bike ride, with Duhi secretly snapping photos of her smiling. Meanwhile, even after getting a new car and hearing plans to move to Paris, Xian can't stop thinking about Suzy. Xian's mom gently tells him that distance sometimes helps people see things more clearly, pushing him to visit Suzy's town. While Suzy and Duhi shop together, they look like a real couple. When Suzy's bike breaks, Duhi shares his seat and covers it with his shirt. Just as Xian arrives and sees them, Suzy's smile fades as she notices him watching. Seeing Xian's cold stare, Doohy steps protectively in front of Suzy. Their friends soon arrive and break the tension. Later, while heading to an amusement park, Suzy ends up riding with Zeon instead of Doohy. Zeon keeps looking at her through the mirror, and the silence between them is heavy. Their eyes meet briefly, and Doohy senses something is off. At the park, he wins Suzy a teddy bear, making her light up. Zeon watches from afar, his jealousy growing. Suzy's best friend notices and ensures Zeon and Suzy ride the Ferris wheel together. As they reach the top, Zeon kneels down slightly, like he's ready to speak his heart. Seeing Zeon again stirs up old feelings in Suzy. Later at the barbecue, Doohy's little sister starts following Zeon around, clearly interested. Suzy watches and feels unsettled. When her friend asks why she's avoiding Zeon, Suzy sadly says, "He already has someone." The others start teasing her and Doohy, and he shyly admits Suzy was his first love. Suzy glances at Zeon, but he seems unaffected. During a party game, Doohen whispers something to Zeon that changes his mood. He stays distant while everyone else laughs. People begin wondering if something is bothering him. After Doohy hurts his hand, Suzy helps him. When he asks about her and Zeon, she doesn't give an answer. Later, Doohen admits she asked Zeon who he wanted to kiss. Zeon notices a small cut on Suzy's hand and gently helps her, showing he still cares. Overwhelmed by his kindness, Suzy kisses Zeon but quickly pulls away. Later, Doohen sets up a romantic scene and tells Suzy he likes her. She gently turns him down, saying she came back only to get away from Zeon, not to start something new. Suzy walks off in tears as Zeon watches from a distance. Doohen returns defeated and warns Zeon that Suzy said being with him was her most painful time. When she leaves town, no one says goodbye and she feels empty. Right before she drives off, Doohen appears and gives her dessert with a smile. He later calls and says he won't give up on her. In Seoul, Suzy sees his sweet message, but her heart still wonders about Zeon. Doohen plans to visit her soon. Suzy agrees to see Doohen again. Meanwhile, Zeon's art gets noticed, and Suzy hears she might study in the US. Zeon brings her to an art gallery that brings up bad memories for Suzy. It's where her ex once embarrassed her with a sculpture. That gallery means something different to Zeon. It's where he first noticed Suzy. Trying to get close again, he volunteers to model for her art class. Later, Doohy surprises Suzy with a homemade lunch, and Zeon watches them quietly, saying nothing. Doohy praises Suzy's art, and though it warms her heart, she feels confused. Lost in thought, she wanders the streets and ends up where she once met Zeon. Suddenly, he appears behind her. They don't say much, but quietly walk home together, sharing a silent understanding. Excited, Doohy hurries to confess to Suzy, but freezes when he sees her arriving with Zeon. Inside, as Suzy returns Zeon's things, he spots an old windshield from their past. Instead of leaving, Zeon sits beside her and gently takes her hand, trying to lighten the mood with a soft joke. Their eyes meet and Zeon leans in for a kiss, but Suzy steps away. She distracts herself, unsure if his words are real or just another lie. That night, she can't sleep. The next day, overwhelmed by emotions, Suzy misses her chance at the France art program. Doohy watches an old video of Suzy and decides to call her, just as Zeon is there, trying to comfort her. When Zeon sees her light up for Doohy's call, it breaks her heart. She starts to believe Suzy has finally moved on, while Doohy heads to Seoul to see her again. Before leaving, Zeon quietly ties a handmade bracelet on Suzy's wrist, hoping for a sign. But during lunch, Doohy calls, and Suzy rushes out, thrilled to see him. He gives her a beach memory photo album and admits seeing Zeon at her house really shook him. Back home, Suzy finds Zeon soaked in the rain, waiting silently. She feels like Zeon's still trying to control things. When he says she hurt him, her patience snaps. Leaving him outside, she breaks down in tears, while Zeon whispers to herself that she truly did mess with Suzy's heart. After realizing how much pain he caused, even Zeon can't explain his actions. The next day, Suzy faces another blow. Her final sculpture is destroyed by a falling ceiling fan. As she sits stunned, Zeon arrives, sits beside her, and says gently, "Let's rebuild it." Together, they start again, quietly putting their hearts into the piece. Their bond isn't romantic anymore, but full of quiet support. Zeon keeps his distance but still cares in small ways, like covering Suzy when she's asleep. When the project is done, he holds back tears and wishes her a perfect graduation, then walks away without saying more. Susie senses something missing as life moves on. Susie starts noticing Zion everywhere, in memories, places, even in the sketchbook filled with drawings of her. On graduation day, she wears the bracelet he gave her. Doohee comes with a gift but hides it when he sees Zion. Susie runs outside to find Zion but misses him. Doohee realizes she never loved him back. Susie feels bad, but Doohee gently reassures her, saying he's grateful for the feelings she gave him. He gives her a goodbye gift, quietly stepping out of her life. At the graduation party, Susie watches others celebrate with their partners but feels alone. She wanders off and ends up at the same art gallery. At the gallery, Susie spots Zion and confronts her for leaving. But when she sees Zion still wearing the bracelet she made, her heart softens. In silence, she reaches out and holds Zion's hand, realizing she still cares deeply. Zion gives her a true, gentle smile, and Susie kisses her, this time taking the first step. Their love begins again, quietly and sincerely. Zion, once a heartbreaker, now stays loyal. Together, they find their rhythm, filled with laughter, closeness, and love, finally bringing their story to a heartfelt end.